Hey guys, so today I've been doing a lot of thinking about everything. And when I say everything, I mean I've literally been thinking outside of the box that we typically live in, and it's kind of freaked me out a little bit because now I need answers. And this all kind of started because of a TikTok video that I saw earlier today of Elon Musk talking about the end of time, and like it's not he didn't necessarily say the end of the world, but he did say that the world would be rendered useless and we would no longer be able to sustain life on Earth anymore because the sun will eventually evaporate all of the water and stuff like that. And it's like, it was pretty scary, and it wasn't that long either. I mean, it is a very, very long time, but not like, you know, in terms of life and stuff like that. But in terms of like, it's just the realization that one day all of this will be gone. I think he said something like 500 million years. And in fact, I'll show you guys the TikTok right now.
This appears to be 13.8 billion years old, Earth is like 4.5 billion years old. In another 500 million years or so, the sun will expand and probably evaporate the oceans and make life impossible on Earth, which means that if it had taken consciousness 10% longer to evolve, it would never have evolved at all. Just 10% longer. And I wonder how many dead one-planet civilizations there are out there in the cosmos that never made it to the other planet and ultimately extinguished themselves or were destroyed by external factors. Probably a few.
Now, of course, this isn't like a scientific fact. It's just a theory. So nobody really knows what's going to happen. But I think it's safe to say that one day this will all come to an end. Whether he's right on the accurate amount of time being 500 million years from now. And supposedly the Earth is 13 billion years old. So it's like we really are getting close to the end in terms of that. And it made me think a lot about it. And the more I thought about it, like not just thinking about like the end of human life, because I'll be honest, I was one of those people who's like, I don't give a fuck. It's going to be billions of years from now or whatever. Like, I don't care what happens to the Earth. It really doesn't affect me at all. So like, I really didn't care about anything. And I still kind of don't. Like, I'm not like I really don't care that much. Like, I don't care. Like, people are saying like, oh, the world's gonna end in like so many million years. I'll be gone, so I don't care. But I didn't really think outside of that box. And what I'm talking about is like, it depends on what your beliefs are here, but it kind of got me thinking about like my beliefs, and that is the afterlife. You know, we die. And I'll read the conversation. I had this conversation with a friend of mine earlier today. And I explained it perfectly in the messages, and I feel like I'm going to have a hard time explaining it again to you guys, so I'm going to just read the messages. So just follow along. Here's how the conversation went. I sent her the TikTok. She said, I said, that's a Elon Musk, and she said, I know. And I said, he seems genuinely concerned that life here on Earth will be over soon. It kind of makes me feel a little bit like a panic attack coming on. She said, yeah. I said, everything that we know, like I was trying to put it into perspective for her. So I said, everything that we know and see every day, stores, buildings, streets, TV shows and movies, friends, family, one day it will all be gone. This Earth will someday be nothing but an empty, dark, lonely vessel of what was once everything we ever knew. Think about that for a second. She said, I know. I said, does that not freak you out? I feel sad. And she said, yeah. And then I said, I mean, we will be long dead before then anyway, because he's talking about another 500 million years from now. So she said, yeah. I said, but it's still kind of scary and sad. And she said, that's true. And then I said to her, this is where I raised a very good question that I don't feel like many people talk about. And I said, what scares me more is that we will be dead, yes. But if we are in the afterlife, what happens to us then? And she said, I don't want to think about that. And I said, well, the ghosts that we know ghosts, that depending on if you believe it or not. Some people don't believe. For me, I believe in ghosts. The ghosts that haunt the buildings that are on Earth now, what becomes of them when the world ends? think about that. And she said, I don't want to. So then I said, I'm seriously freaking out, like thinking about it, because I really did go into a dark place in my head. And then she said to me, but they probably will perish with nothing here. So I said, so not just life on Earth will be over, but also the afterlife will be over too. And she said, well, if there is nothing here, why would there be an afterlife here? And I said, that's what I'm saying, but where do we go? And she said, nowhere. And I said, well, we know that you can't kill a ghost. We've already established that. Ghosts are already dead. You can't kill a ghost. So even if the world does end, the ghosts, including us, will still exist, but not on Earth. And she said, I don't know. And I said, is that when we go to heaven? Or will we be just an intelligent energy with awareness floating around space in total loneliness and darkness forever? And I said, I hate to say this, because she's one of those people that when she believes when we die, it's nothing, it's just black, it's just dark, it's like nothing there. But she believes we are aware of it, which was fucking scary to me. And so I said, I hate to say this, but maybe your theory about us ending up just in blackness might actually be true. She said, I think so. That's sad. And I said, I'm fucking freaking out right now, like seriously having a panic attack. She said, that's not good. I said, we can't even think about it. Like if we're aware and we're just floating around like nothing, like we've got some kind of awareness. I said, we can't even kill ourselves to escape it. We will literally be doomed to darkness and loneliness for eternity. To me, that sounds worse than hell itself. Unless the energy of our spirit also gets weaker and weaker and weaker until eventually there's nothing left of us at all. We will literally cease to exist. So she said, I didn't think about that. And I said, there's nothing we can do. It's gonna happen. So I'm like trying my best to freak her out so I don't feel alone in the panic attack that I was enduring. And then she said, sad. And I said, we're gonna find out. And then I said, I'm really freaking out right now. How does this not freak you out? And she said, because it's not happening right now. And I said, I'm gonna make a video about this tonight and I'm gonna read our conversation. And she said, you are? And I was like, yeah, I need to get this word out there, because I said, everything I just said to you is actually a really good question that nobody ever asks. What happens to the afterlife when the world ends? Which I do think is a really good question, and it's made me think, like, for example, if ghosts really are here on Earth with us, if the Earth one day does explode or whatever happens and we become nothing but little tiny specks of dust particles that are just scattered all throughout space, if that ever were to happen, or even if a meteor hit the Earth and it just did the same thing, blew us up, completely obliterated everything that we know, not just like a city, not just land in the ocean and cause a tsunami, like I mean actually completely obliterate the Earth. If that were to ever happen, what happens to the people that are already dead? Like, it will kill us, but what happens to the ghosts and the spirits and the people in the afterlife? What happens to them? Like, where do we go when we are already dead, but then the world is destroyed? Like, where do we go from there? Do we go to heaven? Or are we just this intelligent, aware energy floating around space, unable to find anyone or anything anymore, just in total blackness and loneliness for eternity? Because you hear about, like, people seeing ghosts of, like, I don't know, like somebody who died 300 years ago. Like, people say they see ghosts of, like, George Washington and things like that, or President Lincoln, like people who died like a long time ago. So that tells me that there is no, like, age limit in the afterlife. Obviously, we know that. Like, you're a human being, you get old and die. But when you're a ghost, it's eternity. But then what happens if you can't die, but then the world is gone? Like, you can't haunt the building that you want to haunt anymore because it's gone. The whole world is gone. Where do you go from there? Like, do you go to heaven, or are you just floating around in space alone without the ability to even kill yourself to get out of that? Because that, I was serious when I said that sounds, think about that, just total darkness and isolation for eternity. It's worse than hell. And that freaks me out so bad. Like, what happens to the afterlife? What happens to us then? when we are no longer able to be on the earth. There's even ghosts long after we actually physically die. Oh my god, it's freaky. Like, I don't know. Or do you think that our ghost energy is somewhat like a battery? You know, you get a battery brand new, it's like a baby being born. The battery's full of energy, it's ready to go. But then when the battery is used up and old and worn, and the battery eventually renders useless, which is like the human body when you're old and worn and you're basically you die. It's because the body's rendered useless, the energy has gone. So the energy leaves the body, and that is your spirit. But then does the energy just stay in the afterlife? Or does that energy, like everything else around us, will eventually evaporate into nothing, and we will literally cease to exist? Like, we will be gone. I don't know if I'm saying it to you guys. I really want you to really think like how I'm thinking, because I want you to freak out. But like, think about that. Like, what happens then? You know, I always thought like, oh, it would be so cool when I die. I'm not too concerned about dying because I believe I'll come back as a ghost and I can do fun things like haunt people and prank people. I always said to like people in my family, like, if I die, I'm definitely gonna come back and like scare you, while like pull your covers off you while you're sleeping and scare you. But when that's all gone, the world, everything material, and just the world itself is completely gone, like, where do the souls go? It's just one of those things. I don't think I've ever heard anybody ever ask that question before. Let me know in the comment section, what is your theory on this? And yeah, I'm just curious to hear. Please let me know so I can calm down. But I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out and chase your dreams.
I grew up in a place where they told you what to chase, told you how to run the race. Every move was on the page, but I didn't like their way. Had to fight and misbehave, had to find a way to change, had to leave to find my way. Caught up in a daydream, I beat my mind up there almost daily. It's how I pass time, no opinions safely. It's how I understand what I want in this place, see. Cause everybody wanna tell you bad things, what could go wrong, what fame brings. But success is a finicky thing, and if you ain't sure, no, it'll never be. I don't wanna let myself down,